morning to you. It's Mr. R2 here at Consistency is Currency, your morning podcast of choice. Um, it is Wednesday. No, Tuesday. Where did I get Wednesday from? I don't know. It is Tuesday. Maybe that's how busy yesterday was. It is Tuesday, December the 3rd. Wow, where did I get December from? What is going on inside of my head? This is January. I don't know where I got December the 3rd from, but this is Tuesday, January the 3rd, um, the third day of 2023. And we're going to be talking about the power of appraisal. Like, where are you at right now with your assessment in yourself? And I'm going to put the question up. Have you changed the way you view yourself? That's a real question. And it's a real question that I can say only those who can honestly look at themselves from a personal perspective will answer that question very honest and very transparent. Because if you look at yourself different, good morning, Miss Scott. Miss Scott already, she's here in January. I appreciate you for being here, Miss Scott. Like always, again, here at Consistency is Currency. The goal is to always show you gratitude in the morning. If you don't get gratitude or shown any appreciation all day, just know that you can come and get your little piece of gratitude in the morning, your little piece of opportunity to change some dynamics and perspectives on how appreciation can really help someone when they hear it, because it's not being taken in vain. So again, like always, I appreciate you for being here and tapping in here at 7:30 in the morning. Again, you can be anywhere at 7:30. You can be eating breakfast. Shoot, you might be eating breakfast, watching right now, or listening or watching right now. I don't know, completely up to you. But what I want to do is tap into, like, where are you at right now in your thoughts? Where are you at right now in your professional development and things like that? Now, of course, I go through professional development just like everybody else. I'm not exempt from pain. I'm not exempt from situations. I'm not exempt from circumstances. I handle it just a little bit different. Um, I'm human just like everybody else. So there are things that we go through, and there are things that we go towards. I want to go towards it. I want to, well, first acknowledge it. I want to go towards it, and I want to push through it just so I can get to the other side, just so I can get and assume the responsibility of the gifts that the rooms that my gifts made room for. All right. All right. So there we go. All right. So how's your New Year so far? I mean, I know it's only 3 days, but I don't know. Maybe you changed something. Maybe you started something that you have been consistent for the past 3 days. I mean, who knows? So whatever it is for you, how has it worked for you? Like, if there's something that you say you were going to do, have you done it? Like, where is your mindset right now with that thing that you said you wanted to do? Put that in the chat. All right, so we're going to be talking about the power of appraisal. So what I want you to do right now, put the word appraisal inside the chat, because what I want you to do is to look at it and examine it, because now when you're looking at yourself and you're doing things, a self-assessment, whatever it is, it's just like an appraisal, like for you, a personal appraisal. Go ahead and put appraisal in the chat. APPRAISAL, because it's important. Don't you think you've taken enough L's? Don't you think that you have gone through enough? So now let's take a step back and let's take a personal appraisal. Let's see how we've done. Let's see where we are in order for us to know where we're going and how we're going to get there. What tools do we have that we can use or utilize when it's time to use them? Because you don't use every tool in your toolbox all at once. You go in and you pull out what's needed in order for you to use it in that moment. You don't go inside your toolbox and pull out a hammer to screw something in. No, you have to have, whether it is a Phillips or a cross tip, you have to have that tool in your toolbox in order for you to exercise it and to use it in order to tighten something up or to change something. So why do we use or think we can use the same thing with everyone that we come across? There are certain tools that you have to have in order for you to allow yourself to be beneficial through the experience that you've gained. All right. All right, bet. So let's go ahead and switch this up. The power of appraisal. So just like some of you know, you're going to get definitions of words, etymology. There's not going to be an etymology today. It's just all raw, pure uh, definitions, inversions of definitions, red over white or white over red. All right, cool. Again, if there's something that resonates with you, just go ahead and put it inside the chat. Let's go ahead and jump 2 feet. Appraisal. The very first definition of appraisal. Make sure you share this. Go ahead and take it, share it on your live or share it inside of a Facebook group. And go from there. All right, the very first definition of appraisal is an act of assessing something or someone. An act of assessing something or someone. So now the act of assessing is really something that you do for you, about you. Because it's too easy for somebody who wants to point the finger at you to tell you what you're doing and what you're not doing. But I need you to actually assess yourself. Like, go through the things that you've gone through, like last year. Make that assessment. Like, see what you've learned about yourself. See how strong you really are. Because a lot of times we feel in those moments when we're not so strong that we're not strong enough to get through the moment. But take that assessment and look at all of the moments that you've gotten through. Look at all of the victories that you've gained. Haven't you noticed that you're really actually stronger than what you thought you were? Just based on the things that you have, the victories that you have accumulated. And being that it says an act of assessing, that means that is something that you have to actively do, not something that you wait on somebody else to do. That is something that you actively do. Like if you were a business owner, you're making an assessment of your business. You can take your website, do an assessment of your website. You can do an assessment of your profit and loss statements. You can do an assessment of, your social media. Like, what are you doing? What have you done? Which can then take you in the area that you can do something different, just based off an assessment that you can do, or the assessment that you have done. And in these assessments, there's going to be accountability. In these assessments, there's going to be some transparency. In the assessment, you're going to have to take it personal about why you're doing an assessment in the first place. And when you're doing these assessments, there may be a level of conviction within that assessment, but don't take the conviction as something wrong, but take the conviction as something that you want to correct. Because you're doing the assessment. It's about you. It's about creating something better for you by looking at what it is that you've done, or what it is that you're doing, or what it was that you've done through that assessment. And the second definition of appraisal is an expert estimate of the value of something. An expert estimate of the value of something. And the inversion on this is red over white. An expert estimate of the value. Like, how do you value yourself? How do you value your own thoughts and your own feelings and your own victories? So being that the definition is saying an expert estimate of the value, it is okay for you to go and to seek help. Like, whether it is mental health, sitting with someone, or having a mentor, because your mentor can actually assist you when it comes to appraising the things that you've done and the actions that you've taken. So yes, this is telling you like it is okay to go out and to pull someone else in into your life and to allow yourself to communicate with them, because there may need to be some sort of expert estimate of the value that you are doing. But make sure you know and believe that there's no other better assessment than the assessment that you can look at yourself, because there may be some things that you might not tell anyone or you're not willing to disclose to anyone. So who knows you better than you? I mean, I know some of y'all say my mama, but but look at it from an internal standpoint. Like, can I internally look at how I operate? Can I internally look at how I think? Because my process of thought can actually change the way I actively do things. But take that expert estimate of the value of self. And the last definition that I want you to pay attention to is the act of, well, it's not the last one, we got one more. The act of examining someone or something in the order to judge his, her, or its qualities, success, and needs. And the inversion on this is real simple, red over white. Now, this is your why of your appraisal. And this is the power of appraisal. The act of examining qualities, success, or needs. Like sitting down and looking like, what are my qualities? Especially like for those that is seeking to get into relationships and things like that. Like now sit down and begin to examine yourself. Like, what are my qualities? Like, what do I really bring to the table? Like, how do I communicate? How do I communicate with myself? Like, success. What are my success stories? What are the things that I've done that I've completed? Not working on, but what are the things that I have done that I have completed? That means completed all the way through. Not the things that you completed and then you stop because you got comfortable, but the things that you've completed successfully all the way through. And like, what are your needs? What are my needs that I know that I would like to have at the table with the things that I brought to the table? Now that is a honest assessment that has to go on in order for you to understand that my quality, success, and my needs is this. These are the things that I have and possess for myself. And these are the things that I know that I want to be in the room when I am in certain rooms or when I am in certain places. That is the act, or that is the act of that examination of your inner and interpersonal appraisal, right? So let's go with the last definition before we go ahead and tap into the deep dive. And the definition says the process of determining what something is worth. I think far too often we put this responsibility on someone else, or we have taken the responsibility from us and we've allowed someone else's determination to show what our worth is. How about in this definition, we take this back? Like, we take this back for me, because the process of my determining worth is my responsibility, not your responsibility or me giving that responsibility to someone else. But the process of determining what my worth is mine, because that goes into your self-esteem. That's why it's called self-esteem, something that self had to look at in order for self to feel better about self. Not me waiting for someone else to feel better about me, but something that I had to feel better about myself. The process of determining worth. Don't you know you're a lot more worthy than you think you are? You have to see that for yourself. Like sometimes we've gone through so much in our lives, and we've gone through so much in relationships, whether it's business, personal, um, that it could have chipped away at a little bit about us. It didn't feel good. The outcome probably was not favorable for you. Yeah, it hurt. You might have cried. You might have felt like you lost something. But now let's go back to that process. Go back to that process of the determination of what your worth is. And I guarantee you that you're worth more than the pain that you've gone through. You're worth more than the situations that you've come out of. You're worth more than the tears that you've cried. You're worth more than the knots on your head from bumping your head more than once. The lesson that you've learned more than once. You're worth more than that. So that process of determining is determined by you. That's what determines it. It's determined by you. So now let's begin this process of the power of appraisal as we begin to go into this deep dive. So I challenge you this year. Now, if you're open for the challenge, you just say challenge accepted. If it's not, then it's not. But if challenge accepted, then you put inside the chat challenge accepted. Deal? All right. So I challenge you this year to change the way that you view you. I think that's a fair challenge. Again, if it's challenge accepted, then you put challenge accepted inside the chat. I challenge you this year to change the way that you view you. Change the way that you talk to you. Change the thoughts that you have about you. Change the way that you speak to you when you're in those challenging moments. You're not stupid. You're not dumb. You're not a loser. You're not a failure. All those things that sometimes when we get in those challenging moments, we may think that we're giving ourselves a pep talk, but it's really putting ourselves down. You don't have to put yourself down to pick yourself up. That's like backwards. How about you change the way you talk to you? Like, come on, you're better than this. You're a winner. This is something that you've seen before. So look at it differently. Like, we got this. Not today. Today we're going to make this happen. Take that self-assessment. Write those things down that you want to action, and then action those things. Don't allow it to defeat you because you had a poor self-assessment, but look at the self-assessment as a conviction to say, I know that I could have started this way before the time that I did. Now I know that I can do it. Now it's time for me to execute. So are you up for the challenge? Are you up for the challenge to just look at you differently? And it's completely up to you. Good morning, Miss Teresa. I appreciate you. Challenge accepted. So now, in this process of the challenge being accepted, I need you to check you too. You're going to have to check you, not waiting for somebody else to check you, not getting emotional because someone checked you, because I know it can get emotional when we don't check ourselves. When we sit there like, I don't believe I let this happen. And then you feel some type of way. But I'd rather you check you than you allow yourself to allow that to continue to happen. Can you check you in the moments that your appraisal is needed the most? I'm going to say that again. Can you check you in the moments that your appraisal is needed the most? Because remember, an appraisal, it says the process of determining your worth. Can you check you in the moments that an appraisal is needed the most? Because the fuel of your thoughts and how you view your talents, your dreams, your goals, and gifts, it needs you to affirm them. An expert decision that you do have value. And when you understand that, it's going to take you to affirm yourself that you have value and you have self-value, and your self-determination is what's going to get you there. Remind yourself that you are worthy of winning and that you are worthy of the victories. Because we talk so much about pain and failures, that a lot of times pain and failures begin to overshadow our small victories and our own capabilities of winning. That's like for me when I was reading the I mean it's just me, like nothing on the book. When I was reading Fail Forward, I think. I think that's what it's called. Failing Forward or Fail Forward, something like that. Like I had to stop reading that book because it focused so much on failing. Like I've seen the word failure and failing so many times, it began to overshadow the things and the way that I think. So I had to stop reading it. I mean, that's just me. That's my transparent moment. But again, we talk about the pains and the failures. But are you ready to talk about your small victories? Are you ready to talk about the things that you have completed, the process that you've taken, the victories that you've had, the time that you've won? Don't you know uh, um, highlighting those small victories can actually catapult you and give you and show you that you do have the capacity of winning? But you have to believe that. Like I need you to reach for it. I need you to understand that you may have power within you that you haven't even reached out yet. It's too easy to say what other people are doing, but can you communicate about you with what you are doing? Can you check you when that appraisal is needed the most? Because I'm going to need you to forward your own self the opportunity to increase your victories, that you can do more than you can imagine. Like that takes a different level of thinking. That takes a different level of an assessment. That takes a downright expert appraisal of the value that you carry within, that you are more valuable than you have ever imagined. So when are you going to stand upright and talk to yourself differently, I should say, talk to yourself differently than what you did the last time you fell on your face? Yes, you fell on your face, but that don't make you stupid. That means you fell on your face. You get back up and you do something different the next time. And if you fall on your face again, you get back up and do something different than what you did the last time. Because when you quit, the day you quit is the day you cut yourself off from your own destination. But it's too easy for us to talk about what somebody else is not doing and why they quit. But we just got finished quitting yesterday on something that we know that we could have had accomplished. But we didn't accomplish those things because we didn't give ourselves the determination that we need, that we hold true and value to all of the other accomplishments that we have completed. Because if you did it once, trust and believe you can be victorious again. Don't let your pain and your anguish and your failures overshadow the great things that you have about you. Like, you're great, you're mighty, you're strong. But when are you going to say that about you? How do you value you? That's your question. How do you value you? Like, what does your self-determination and your self-evaluation look like? Haven't you devalued yourself enough? Haven't you put yourself down enough? Or haven't you been devalued enough? I mean, it might not have been you, but haven't you been devalued enough? Go back and take that appraisal, the process of determining what your worth is. Remember, it's the act of examining your qualities, your success, and your needs. Like, how do you value yourself along the journey has so much to do with how you get to your destination. I'm gonna say that again. How you value yourself along your journey has so much to do with how you get to your destination. Yes, it's hard. Yes, it hurts. Yes, uh, it's going to take some effort. Yes, it's going to take long nights. Yes, it's going to have extended periods of daytime or extended periods of nighttime. And then the next thing you see, the sun is up again. Okay, if that's what it's going to take in order for you to increase your value, aren't you worth that? Because the value and the blessings of your evaluation is on you. It's not on anyone else. It's completely on you. But you are worthy of being worth more. Now, check your appraisal. Check your appraisal and allow yourself to know that if I'm ever going to get there, I must acknowledge the things that I've won and the ways that I've won. And I've learned how to, one, acknowledge my shortcomings just as much as I acknowledge the things that I've catapulted into. My obstacles are now my opportunities. My pains is now my praise. My fear is no longer my fears. It's now my faith. It's now my power. It's now my passion. But I had to do my very own appraisal. Like, what does your appraisal look like? What qualities do you have after you have created and acknowledged your own self-assessment? That's the power of appraisal. Not someone else's attention, but can you pay attention to you, even in the moments to where you feel not so appreciated? Appreciate your time. Appreciate your value and appreciate your worth. Take that self-assessment. Because trust and believe, when you get to the moment and it's time for you to get inside that toolbox or reach inside your little bag of tricks, and what you pull out is what was needed at that moment, the victory is going to feel just as sweet. Why? Because you're built for that. You've worked towards it. Your qualities have made you qualified to be where you are. The things you've done in the past, your experience, have qualified you to be where you are. And it's okay to be happy because you've cried enough tears that have qualified you to be where you are, that qualified you to be healed, that qualified you to laugh, that qualified you to smile. All right, that's enough. Hey, man, it's Mr. R2 here at Consistency is Currency. I appreciate you just for being here and sharing this digital space, because now we can take our own self-assessment and look at what our qualities are, look at what our success is, and acknowledge what our needs are, and then go from there. All right. All right, I see you tomorrow here at Consistency is Currency, your morning podcast of choice. Make sure you go to the YouTube page, subscribe to the YouTube, as well as go to iHeart, Anchor, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, iHeart Radio. Where else we at? Podbean, and subscribe and follow us on those podcast distribution platforms. Y'all be blessed. Peace.